if we want to store multiple values inside a single variable. In that condition, lists in Python are used. And in this module, we will be discussing about lists. So hello everyone and a very warm welcome to WsCube Tech. My name is Ayushi Jain. And in this video, we will be discussing about how lists are created, how we can iterate inside a list, how we can index a list, how we can slice it, and we will be solving so many questions about lists. We will be also working on the functions that are related to the list. Before we start with the video, if you want to become a successful data analyst and if you want to learn data analytics live from our experts, then you can call on the number provided on your screen or you can click on the link provided in the description. Not just this, with our every batch you get 2 demo classes for free. So let's get started now. In our today's session, we will be discussing about the list. Now, first, let's understand what are lists. List is basically a collection of multiple data. You can add multiple data inside a list. Now, here it is written that it is a ordered and mutable data. Now, what is mean by ordered and mutable data over here is ordered here means that each element inside the list has been numbered and we can assess it with the help of its indexes. And mutable over here means that once a list is created, it can be changed. Now let's have a look at certain rules that we have to write a list. Our first rule says that lists are written inside the square brackets. So we will be seeing this rule with the help of an example. So let me switch to PyCharm and I'll show you how to create a list along with these rules. So I'm considering an example over here. I'm creating a list of Avengers over here. So I'm writing Avengers. Our first rule says that lists are supposed to be kept inside the square bracket. So okay, we can create a square bracket over here. Our second rule says that each value is a comma separated value. So let's add some values over here. So I'm adding Iron Man. I'll put a comma in between that it is a comma separated value over here. So I'll put a comma and then write the next value, let's say Thor, and I'll write our third value, let's say third is Captain America, right? So we have 3 values over here. Now, 2 rules are clear over here that it is kept inside the square bracket. Second thing is there are a comma separated values. Third rule says that it is mutable. Now, guys, here mutable does not mean that you'll go to a list and make changes over here. No, with the help of lists inbuilt function, we can make changes inside a list. Our fourth rule says that list has every kind of a data type. Like inside one list, you can write all the data types. You can the data that we are writing inside the list can have all the type of data types. So our fourth rule over here says that a list can contain all the data types. So if I put a comma and try to write any integer 1, 2 or 4, that will also work. Or if I want to write a float number also 1.98, or I'll put a comma, write any other 10.09. So that will also be accepted in the case of list. So list over here has a square bracket, has a comma separated values, is mutable means with the help of inbuilt function, we can make changes to the list. And fourth is that we can use multiple data types inside one list. So how to print it is very simple. All you need to do is write print and inside the parentheses you write the name of the lists. So as soon as I run it over here, you can see we will receive our list and this is how a list is created. In our today's session, we will be talking about slicing in list. Yes, guys, slicing in list, slicing term we have heard before. We have also done slicing in our strings. Today we will be doing slicing in the list. So slicing in the list is pretty much similar to how we have done slicing in the strings, but let's see how it can be done over here. So guys, I'm considering a case over here where I'm taking a list A is equals to, let's say inside I'm adding 3 elements, 10, 20 and 30. Okay, now to access any one element, first of all, we will be starting with accessing a one element. With the help of the index, we can access an element. So what I'll be doing, I'll be writing print name of our list, that is A. Inside the square bracket, if I want to access number 20 over here, we know that the index value starts from 0. So number 10 will be on number 0, number 20 will be on number 1 and number 30 will be on number 2. If we talk about the negative indexing over here, we know that number 30 is on -1, number 20 is on -2 and number 10 is on -3. So if I want to access 20 over here, what I can do, I can write 1 and let's run and see what we get. So here we will get 20. Similarly, if you want to go with the negative indexing, all you need to do is you need to write print A Inside the square brackets, you can write -2, that is for the 20. And if I run it, I'll get 20 over here. So in both the condition, both the cases, we can access an element. You can go for any element inside a list. You can write any element inside the list. You can get a value of any element inside a list with the help of our indexes. Okay. Now talking about the slicing over here. Slicing means if you want to slice a small part of a list. So first of all, to slice a list, let's just extend our list. We have a very small list over here. So I'll be adding more elements to it. Okay. Now I have 7 elements over here. Now let's say I want to slice a small part of it. Okay. What I need to do, as we have done in our string slicing, we need to provide with a starting value. We need to provide with the ending value, and we need to provide with the step in between. So let's see how it can be done. So let's say if I want to slice 30, 40 and 50 over here, I want these three middle elements. So what I'm going to do, I'll be writing the starting value. For example, print A. The starting value would be for 30, we have 0, 1, 2. So it's starting on number 2. I'll put a colon over here. 30, 40, 50. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And as we know, to the ending number, we add +1. So it's ending on 4. That's why we will be writing 5. And I don't want any space in between. I don't want a gap of any number in between. So what I can do, as soon as I run this program, I'll get 30, 40, 50 in a format of a list. Similarly, let's say if I want to slice the first three elements, what I need to do is, I'll write print over here, write A inside the square bracket. Now, as I want it from the starting, it's not required to define the starting value over here. All I can do is put a colon, and we can define the ending value over here, that okay, we are starting from a default value, that is our number 0, and we are ending it on, let's say, number 4. So if I write number 4 over here, I'll be getting 10, 20, 30 and 40. And let's run and see. So yes, we got 10, 20, 30 and 40. Similarly, we can also slice the last few elements as well. For that, all you need to write print A inside the square brackets. I'll be defining my starting value now. Why? Because we need a starting value. As we know, we are going all the way towards the end, so we don't have to define the ending value, but because we want to start it from between or maybe close towards the end, so we have to define from where we have to start. So let's say I want to start it from number 50. For number 50, we can write -1, -2, -3. So -3. I'll not define the end, and if I run it, I get 50, 60 and 70. You can write a positive index over here, but negative indexing was closed from this side. That's why I use negative indexing here. Similarly, if you want a gap in between, let's say I want to print all the elements, but I want to print elements on number 1, number 3, number 5 and number 7. So what I can do, I can provide with a gap in between. Let's say I'll be writing print A inside the square bracket. I'm not defining the ending value because I'm starting from default 0 and ending at wherever it is ending. I'll be providing with a gap in between, so I'll be writing 2 over here. And as soon as I run it, I'll get 10, 30, 50 and 70. Similarly, if you want to give a space of 3 in between, all you need to do is replace the 2 from 3 over here, and you'll get 10. After 10 directly, we will be skipping 2 elements over here and go to the third element, that is our 14, skipping 2 elements, going to the third element, that is our 70. It can also be done by providing a range. The gap can also be used by providing a range. Let's say I want to start it from 20 and end at 60. So our starting value 20 would be print A. Starting value 20, that means we will be starting from 1. Last value is 60. So for 60, you can use -2 or -1 over here in this case, because we will be adding +1 to it. And I can provide it with a gap in between. So let's say I want a gap of 2 over here. As soon as I run it, I get 20, 40 and 60. So I get a range of 20 to 60 in between. I'm skipping a step in between. Right. Similarly, we can find the reverse of the list, just like how we have done in the strings. All you need to do is you need to write print A inside the square bracket. Now you don't have to define the starting value. You don't have to define the ending value also over here. All you need to do is write -1 to get the reverse, to obtain the reverse of the whole list. So I'll be writing colon, colon, -1, and as soon as I run it, you will see I will receive the reverse of whole list, that is 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20 and 10. So guys, this is how slicing in list can be done. Slicing simple means to obtain a small part of a list, or if you want to reverse it, or if you want to obtain one part of it, or if you want to obtain a list with the gaps in between, that is where our slicing can be used. That means we are obtaining a small part of a list. Guys, what is list iteration? Let's first understand that. List iteration means we will be looping the elements of the list. Now, to loop the elements of the list, there are 4 methods that we will be discussing in this session. Before that, if you want to become a successful data analyst and if you want to learn from our experts live, then you can call on the given number, or you can fill the form that is provided in our description. Not just that, with our every batch, you will be getting 2 demo classes for free. Have a look on what are these 4 methods. Our first method over here is for loop, but in for loop we will be directly using a list, direct use of list. Second method is again for loop, but this time we will be using a range method. Third method would be our while loop, so we will be iterating with the help of while loop. And lastly, we will be iterating with the shorthand for loop. So guys, just like how we have conditional statement, shorthand conditional statement, similarly we have a method of shorthand loop as well, shorthand for loop as well. We will have a look on how it can be done. So first of all, we will be considering a case of for loop with the direct use of list. So I'll be creating a list over here that a is equals to, inside it I'm adding few elements 10, 20, 30 and 40. Okay. Now iteration means what? That our loop will go to each value one by one and print it. Right. So to iterate it, all I need to do is I need to use a for loop, that for I in A colon print I. So what I will do, I will go to each index, that it will start from 0, print the first element, it will go to next index, that is our number 20. Will print it, then it will go to the next index, that is number 30, then print it, then it will go to the next index 40. So let's run and see what happens. So as you can see over here, with the help of a for loop, we have iterated the values inside the list. This is one method. Now guys, let's talk about the range method, that how it can be done with the help of a range method. For the range method, let's create a variable over here. I'm creating a variable which will have the length of list, that is len of A. Okay. Let's understand with the help of a small example over here. So guys, I'll be writing our list over here, that is A is equals to 10, 20, 30 and 40. Length of A, we know that length of A will give us 4 because there are 4 elements over here. When we will be defining a range, what we will do, we will be writing our first index number, that is 0, comma, and the length of it. So I'll be putting it inside the variable. Let's say I'm using a k variable over here. K variable holds the length of A, that is our 4. So we can write k over here. This will be our range. Now how the for loop will iterate, it will start from index number 0. It will go to the first element. It will print it. And then how we will print it, we will be printing, I'll be writing print over here. We will be printing A and I index over here, the element of A on the I index. So I starts from 0 because we have written 0. So 0 index we have 10. Then it goes to next number, that is our 20. Then next number, that is our 30. And lastly on number 3. Okay. So this is how it will be iterating. Let's put it inside our program now. So let's take the list over here. I'll be using the same list. Okay. After this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a for loop, that for I in range. Now this time, as we are defining the range, it starts from 0, goes to our k element, that is up to 4. I'll put a colon. I'll print what I'm going to print. I'm going to print each element of A by accessing each value. So A, inside the square bracket, I'll be writing I, that first it will go to 10, then it will go to 20, then it will go to 30, and then it will go to 40. So A of I, that means A of 0 will be 10, A of 1 will be 20, A of 2 will be 30, and A of 3 will be our 40. Let's run and see what do we get. So after running, we are getting the output 10, 20, 30, 40, which is doing the same thing that we have done with the direct use of list. Okay. This was our for loop with the range method. Now we will be iterating the list with the help of the while loop. Let's see how it can be done. And I'll be providing with a condition over here, that while I is smaller than the length of this list, that is our A. So length is 4, that while I is less than 4. Less than 4 would be 3. So it will be going 0, 1, 2, 3. Right? So while I is less than length of A, which is 4, in that condition, what we need to do, we need to print. What we need to print? We need to print A, that is the name of this list, with the index number I. And as we know that in while loop, the increment of I or increment of any number is done inside the loop. So I will be incrementing it over here, that I plus is equals to 1. Every time the value of I will be increased by 1. As soon as I run it, you will see we will get the same output 10, 20, 30 and 40. If I would have incremented it with the 2, it would have given me 10 and 30 only. So this is how our while loop iterates a list. Talking about our next method, that is shorthand for loop. Let's see how shorthand for loop can be used for the iteration of a list. So guys, just like how in conditional statements, we first write our print statement, we write the statement that needs to be executed, then we write the condition. Similarly, here also inside the square bracket, we will be writing our print statement, that print I will be the loop, I will be the variable that I will be using inside the for loop. So for I in the name of our list is A. As soon as I run it, I get the same output over here, 10, 20, 30 and 40. So guys, this is how iteration can be done with the help of 4 methods that we have discussed over here. First is for loop with the direct method. Second is for loop with the range. Third is with the while loop. And fourth one is with the shorthand for loop. About some list functions. So we have many list functions which has a vast application in Python. We will be discussing all of them one by one. So let's get started. So guys, in this session, we will be discussing about 6 list functions. First is length, second is count, third is append, fourth is insert, fifth is remove, and sixth is pop. We will be discussing each of them with the help of an example. So I'm considering a list over here, that A is equals to, inside the square bracket, I'll be writing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I'm adding 5 items to it. Our first method says to find the length of the list. To find the length of the list, just like how we have done it in the strings, we will be doing the same thing over here. We will be writing print len of A. So if I run this program, I get that there are 5 elements inside this list. So this is the length method. Talking about the count method allows us to count the number of times any element is occurring inside the list. So let's say I'm increasing the occurrence of any element. Let's say I'm writing 10 again, and 20, and again I'm writing 10. Okay. Now what count method will do? Count method will check how many times number 10 is occurring inside the list. So all we need to do is write print A, that is the name of our list, dot count. Or we need to count how many times number 10 is occurring inside the list. As soon as we run it, it tells us that the 3 times it's occurring. Similarly, if you want to check it for any other number, let's say if I want to check it for 50, all you need to do is write print A dot count, let's say 50. So as soon as I run it, it gives me 1 over here. Right. Nextly, we are talking about the append method. So guys, append method over here allows us to make changes to the list. So in our first session with list, I told you that lists are mutable. Mutable means once a list is created, it can be changed. Now changing here does not mean that I go to the list and directly added it. We can use a inbuilt function of the list to add more items to it. How it can be done? Let's have a look. So let's say I want to add an element to it. All I need to do is I'll write a dot append. Append means to add, and whatever I want to add, let's say I want to add 60 inside this list. So a dot append 60, and if I print A now and run the program, you will see that to our list 60 has been added. But there is one thing with this append method, that whatever element we will be appending, it will directly go towards the end of the list. What if we want to insert something, if we want to add something in the middle of the list or in the starting of the list? For that, we have our insert method over here, will allow us to add any element at any particular position that we want to add it to. So all we need to do is write a dot insert. Now where I want to add it on position. Let's say I want to add it between 10 and 20. So I will be adding it at position number 1, comma, what I will be adding, let's say I want to add 100 number over here. And after this, I'll be printing my A. And as soon as I run it, you will see that on number 1, that means on number 1 position, we have 100. So this is how, with the help of insert method, you can insert any element inside the list at any particular position you want to insert it as. With the append method, we can add an element towards the end of the list. With the insert method, we can add it wherever we want to add it inside the list. Now let's talk about the remove method over here. Now remove method is used, as the word itself says, remove. Remove method here helps us to remove an element from the list. Let's see how it can be done. So we had 100 over here, where 100 does not make any sense. So I'll be removing 100 from here. All I need to do is write a dot remove, and I want to remove 100. So if I print a over here, let's run and see what happens. You will now see that the new list that we have obtained from this list, the 100 has been removed. Right? What if I want to remove an element from a particular position? Let's say I don't know which element is at which position. All I know is whatever is position number 2, I want to remove whatever element is there at the position number 2. For that, we have a pop method. Pop method allows us to remove an element with the help of an index number. So how to use a pop method is very simple. All we need to do is write a dot pop, and inside the brackets we can add whichever index number we want to remove. So let's say whatever element is there on index number 2, I want to remove it. And if I print the list after this and run the program, so now you will see on number 2 index we had 30, and in the new list that we have obtained over here, the 30 has been removed. This is how pop method is used. The difference between the remove method and the pop method over here is remove removes the particular value that you are telling the list that, okay, I want to remove a value, and you have to provide it with the value that which value you want to remove. While pop method allow us to remove it from an index number. You can use an index number, give a value of an index number, and you can remove whatever element is there on that particular index. So guys, these were our 6 list functions. In the next session also, we will be discussing about 6 more list functions. In our last session, we discussed about 6 list functions and how they can be used with the list. Discussing about more 6 list functions, and then we will be coming to our problem solving part. So guys, let's get started. Before that, if you want to become a successful data analyst and if you want to learn from our experts live, then you can call on the given number, or you can fill the form that is provided in our description. Not just that, with our every batch, you will be getting 2 demo classes for free. So guys, here we have our 6 list functions. We have copy, extend, index, reverse, sort, and clear. We will be discussing each of them one by one. First of all, let's talk about copy. For copy, I'll be creating a list over here that A is equals to 10, 20, 30. So if I want to copy this in any other variable, let's say I want to copy it in B. So what I'll be writing, B is equals to A dot copy, open close the bracket. Now if I print B over here and run our program, so you will see that I am printing B, still it's giving me the elements of A. Why it is happening? Because B has copied all the elements which is present there inside the A list. So this was our copy method. So our next method over here is extend method. Let's first understand what extend method does. Extend method allows us to extend our list. So let's say we have 2 lists and I want to add the element of second list to our first list. So extend method over here will help us to add the elements of list B inside the list A. Let's see with the help of an example. I'm creating a list over here. A is equals to, inside this list I'm adding 3 elements, 10, 20, 30. Right? I'm creating another list over here, B, in which I'm adding 2 elements, that is 40, 50. Now what I need to do, I need to write A dot extend B. That I am extending A by B. To the A list, I'm adding B list. And after this, before we do this, I'll be also printing it. So print A to see that if it is working properly or not. And here also, I'll be writing print B. Okay. Now after that, after doing the extension over here, I'll be writing print A again. So let's run and see what happens. If I run the program, you will notice when I printed A, it gave me the list A. When I printed B, it gave me the list B. And when after we have used our extend method over here, that A dot extend B, it has increased the size of the list. It has added the B list inside the list A, and it has written 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It has provided with a new list that is A. So it has added more elements to A. Now our next method is index method. Talking about the index method over here, index method is very simple. It is used to find the index of any element. All you need to do is, first of all, let's take an example over here of a list. So I'm creating a list A over here, and inside it I have added 3 elements, that is 10, 20 and 30. Now if I want to know the index number of 30, so all I need to do over here to find the index of, let's say, number 30 is, I'll write print A, that is the name of our list, dot index, and I want to know the index of number 30. That's why I'll be writing number 30 over here. As soon as I run it, I get it number 2. So as we know that element 1, that is number 10, is on index 0. The second element is on number 1 and the third element is on number 2. Similarly, if you want to check it for number 10, it will give us with 0. So let's run and see. Yes, it is giving us with number 0, that the index value of number 10 element is 0. This was our index method. Now let's move ahead to our next method, that we have reverse. So guys, reverse method over here allows us to reverse the whole list over here. Let's see how it can be done. So to reverse it, all we need to do is write A dot reverse, open close the parentheses, and now if I print A over here and run our program, so now you will see that the A list has been reversed. Firstly we had 10, 20 and 30. Now after the reverse of it, we have received with the 3 values, that is 30, 20 and 10. It has reversed the values of indexes over here. Now let's move to our next method, that is our sort method. Guys, what is sort method? Sort method allows us to sort a list alphabetically or numerically. For example, if I have created a list over here, let's say A is equals to, inside the list I'm writing 30, 60, 10, 20. So we can see that the order of the elements inside the list is random. If we want to put it in a proper ascending order, all we need to do is write A dot sort, and when I print A over here and run it, you will see it has been now arranged in the ascending order, that first we had 10, then 20, then 30 and then 60. Similarly, this sort method can also be used in the list when we have a string. So let's consider another example. I have B. B is equals to, I'm adding multiple elements over here. Let's say I'll be writing hello and comma, hi, and here I'll be adding good morning, comma, bye. Right. Now what I need to do, I need to arrange it alphabetically. So here the sort method will be talking about the first letter of each element over here. So let's see how it can be done. B dot sort, open close the parentheses and print B. Let's run and see what happens. So you can see that it is arranging them alphabetically. We know that in our 26 alphabet, B occurs first, then G and H. So bye is first over here, then G comes, that's why good morning, and then we have hello and hi. Both of have H over here, but because both of them are same, it will be talking about the second element that we have over here. So here it has I, which comes late, and E comes first. That's why first we have got over here hello, and next we have got over here hi. So guys, this is how our sort method works in the list. Now we will be talking about our last method, that is the clear method. So guys, for clear method, again I'm taking an example of a list over here, that a list has 10, 20 and 30 elements. Clear method allows us to remove all the elements from the list. Let's see how it can be done. For this, all I need to do is write A dot clear and open close the parentheses. Now if I print A, let's see what happens. We will also print A before using the clear method. So if I print A before using the clear method, it gives me with the values 10, 20 and 30. And after applying the clear method to it, it has given me with the empty list. That means it has removed all the elements from inside of a list. So guys, these were our 6 more methods that we have learned in our list functions. In our today's session, we will be solving problems related to the list. So there are so many problems that can occur with a list, and we will be solving some of them over here. So I hope all the doubts and all the questions that you will be having till now will be cleared after this problem solving session. Before that, if you want to become a successful data analyst and if you want to learn from our experts live, then you can call on the given number, or you can fill the form that is provided in our description. Not just that, with our every batch, you will be getting 2 demo classes for free. So let's get started. Let's see what questions do we have over here in front of us. So we have a list over here, A, and inside some names are written. And our first question says to write a program to swap the first and the fourth element over here. So all you need to do is replace the first element with the fourth element and replace the fourth element with the first element from this list. So first of all, let's understand the logic, that what logic will be used to solve this problem. So for example, I have a list A. Inside I have 4 elements 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, just like how we have 4 elements inside our list that is there in the question, similarly we have 4 elements over here. What we need to do, we need to replace both these elements, that we need to store the value of 40 in 10 and the value of 10 into 40. Now how it can be done? So what we can do over here is we can use a temporary variable over here. I can create a temporary variable, store the value of 10 over here. For storing the value of 10, that means 10 resides on our index number 0. So I'll be writing A of 0. Now A of 0 is the value of this temporary variable. Okay. So now we will be discussing about this actual A of 10 position. So A of 10 position, that means A of 0, will be replaced with what? A of -1 position. So what we will be doing, we will be writing A of -1. So that means this 40 has gone in this place. So now the new list that we have is 40, 20, 30, 40. So this will be the new list that will be obtained after this operation. Now this is not what we want. We want at number 40 that 10 number should be there at number 40. For that, what we will be doing, we will be writing A of -1. That will be our last element of our list, and we will be replacing it with the temporary variable. That will be our A of 0. But if we will write A of 0 over here, A of 0 right now is 40. But if you remember, we did in the starting, we did this procedure that inside the temporary variable, we have stored the value of A of 0. That means this temporary variable holds our 10 over here. That's why we use this temporary variable. So instead of writing A of 0 over here, we will be writing temporary variable that will give us A of 0 over here, which will present us with a list which looks like this: 40, 20, 30 and 10. So this is a small example over here. Let's try to put it in our Python. So our motive over here is to replace the first element with the last element. So we'll be creating a temporary variable over here. Inside this temporary variable, I'll be adding the value rows over here. How I'll be writing it? By writing A inside the square bracket, I'll be writing 0, which tells me that inside this temporary variable, now the rows has been stored. Okay. Now what we need to do, we at the place of rows, we need to add Joey over here. So we will be writing A. Inside this, we will be writing 0. That on the 0th position inside the list, that means on the first position inside the list, what we will be storing, we will be storing the value which is there on the last position. That would be A of -1. So I'll be writing A of -1. That would be our Joey. And if I print it right now, so I'll be printing list at every point. So I'll be printing A over here, and I'll print A over here as well. So initially my list looked like this, which had Ross, Rachel, Monica, Joey. After making the changes, that after replacing the 0th value, that means the first value, with our last index, we got a list like this: Joey, Rachel, Monica, Joey. Right now what we want, that at the place of this last value, it should be Ross over there. So for that, what we will be doing, we will be writing, so what we will be doing over here, we will be writing A of -1. That means our last value will be replaced by our temporary variable. It won't be replaced by A of 0 because A of 0 right now is Joey. So it will take Joey again. But what we need to do, we need to replace it with a temporary variable which was holding the value of Ross. So we will be replacing it with the temporary variable. And now if I print my list A and run it, you will now see that the first element is there at last and the last element over here is now at first. If I remove this center print, and run it. So now you can see that the first element has been replaced by the last element and the last element has been replaced by the first element. So our question is done over here. Our next question over here says write a program to add a new value at a second position. We know very clearly that our append method allows us to store a value, but it adds at a last of the list. It never adds at a center of a list or at a specified value. It adds at the last of the list. So here we have another method in our list which we have learned in our list methods, that is insert. Insert allows us to insert a value at whatever position we want to insert it at. So let's see how it can be done. So considering the same example over here, I'll be first printing a and getting the output like this. Now at the second position, that means at the place of Rachel, over here what we will be adding a new value. Let it be anything. So what I'll be writing a dot insert. Now insert over here comes with the two parameters. What two things we will be providing, that it with what position we want to add and what thing we want to add. Suppose we want to add on position 1, because on 0 we already have a rows. We want it on second position index number would be 1. At position number 1 we want to add Phoebe, and after this if I print a and run it. So now you can see at number second position we have Phoebe over here with us. So this is how our insert method works. So remember guys, append will add something in the end of the list and insert will allow us to add it at whatever position we want to add it to. Moving ahead with the next part of this question. So here it says that write a program to delete a value from third position. So let's see how to delete a value from a third position. Now here we clearly know that our pop method allows us to remove something from the list. But with the help of the pop method, we can only remove the last element from the list. What if we want to eliminate a value which is in the middle of the list or which is at a defined position? So for that we will be using a delete function over here. For that I'll be writing delete, and what I want to delete a of so number third element would be our Monica, which is on 0 1 2. So I'll be writing 2 over here, and if I print a after this and run it, so you will see that on the third position we first had Monica, but in our new list that has been provided to us, the Monica is not there anymore. So our this question had 3 parts which we have solved, and I hope you guys have no doubts and no questions. Let's see what do we have in our next question. Our next question over here says write a program to multiply all the numbers in the list. Now as the question says that we have to go to the each element inside the list. So yes, we have to iterate through the list, and yes, for loop will be used over here. So let's see how a for loop will be used over here. So I'm creating a list over here called as A. Inside I'll be writing some elements 10, 20, 30 and 40. So I have to find a multiplication of all these 4 numbers. So I'll be iterating to each element. First I'll be going to this one, then second this one, then third this one, and this fourth one. For that I will also be needing a total over here, but right now what I'll be doing, I will not be keeping, because we want to multiply these numbers, and if I put total is equals to 0, the multiplication will give me automatically 0, because yes, total will be multiplied, right? So 0, if I put 0 over here, all the numbers after multiplication, they will also become 0. So I'll be keeping this totals value over here as 1. I hope you have understood what is the logic of keeping the total value of as 1. Because if I had to find the sum of all the numbers, then I would have written 0 over here, because we were adding it. But multiplication with 0 will give us a 0. That's why I'm putting the totals value 1 over here. After this, we will be going in the range of this list. So for I in range of len of a, so we'll be going from 0 to length of a, and what we will be doing, we will be adding the total over here. So total would be multiplication is equals to I. That means each element will be multiplied with this total. So initially it will be 1. After multiplication with the 10, it will become 10. After multiplication with the 20, it will become 200. After multiplication with the 30, it will become 6,000. After multiplication with the 40, it will become 2,40,000. Okay, let's see if it works in this way or not. So I have taken this list over here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the length of it. So for finding the length of it, I'm creating a small a variable over here. Inside a, I'll be writing len of a, or we can do with the directly. So here what we'll be doing, we can use the direct method as well by writing for I in a, that is the name of our list. We'll be iterating to the elements of this list, and what we will be doing, we will be creating a variable called as total over here. So total will be is equals to 1 as this is, because if we'll put it as 0 after multiplication, it will give us the whole value as 0 over here. And then after iterating to each element, we will be incrementing this total, that total multiply is equals to by I. So every time with the total I will be multiplied, and lastly we will print the multiplication, or we can write the product of all the numbers in the list is, I'll put a comma over here and write total. So as soon as I run it, you will see we will get the output 10920, and if you will try to multiply it, yes, you will get the same output. So I hope it is clear how we have solved this problem. Next we will be moving ahead with our next problem over here. So our next problem over here says write a program to get the largest number from the list. So we already have a list over here. It's written in a format of a string. Don't confuse it with the format of a string. It's all the integers over here. So we'll be writing a program to get the largest number from this list. Now to obtain the largest number of the list, there is a very simple method. We know that we have a sort method which arranges everything inside the list in the ascending order. So I'll be considering an example of a list over here which has elements like this. Okay. Now what I will be doing, if I'll go to each value and compare each value, that would be a very long task. That's why list has provided us with a method over here. In our list functions, we learned a method that is called as sort method. Now here what we will be doing, we will be using our sort method. Sort method allows us to arrange everything in the ascending order. So I'll be writing a dot sort, and if I print the list after this, it will give me a list something like this: 9, 10, 13, 32. So we know that after arranging it to a ascending order, it will obviously give us the last element as the largest number. The ascending order means that it starts from the smallest number and ends at the largest number. We know that whatever the last element will be there inside the list, that would be the largest number, that would be the greatest number. And to obtain that, we can directly print a, and inside the square bracket we can write -1. -1 will give us the largest number from the list. So let's try it with the Python program as well. Here I will be writing a dot sort, and after this I'll be printing my a. So if I print a over here and run it, it will give me with an output of a list which looks like this. So it has been arranged into an ascending order. Now we clearly know that the last element would be our largest number over here, the greatest number over here, and to fetch the greatest number, all we need to do is write a, and inside the square bracket we will be writing -1, and also over here in the starting we can add the largest or the greatest number in the provided list is, I'll put a comma over here and write a of -1. That would be our 13, which is very clear that 13 is the largest number over here. Similarly, it is asking for our smallest number as well, that what is this, how to find the smallest number inside the list. So the same method will be used over here. We will be sorting it into ascending order, but this time we will be fetching for the first element. So all you need to do is write print the smallest number in the provided list is, I'll put a comma and write a of 0. That means the first element, we need to fetch the first element. So here if now I run it, I over here have the greatest number as 13, and over here I have the smallest number as 7. This is how you can get the smallest and the largest number from a list. So guys, here we have solved 6 problems related to the list. I hope you guys have no doubts and no questions. In our next session, we will be starting with a whole new topic, whole new module, that will be our tuples. So stay connected guys, and I'll see you in the next session. Thank you.